Welcome to another episode of ASX Trading Review. Today we're taking a look at a trade I made on a stock called BNR. We're going to do a breakdown of my thought pattern, the strategy I had in place, as well as the outcome of the trade. Let's get into it. How's it going, guys? Welcome to another ASX Trading Review video. As I mentioned, we are looking at a stock that I traded called BNR. It's going to be a retrospective look of the strategy that I put in place when I was going to make an entry into this stock. What was the trigger for me to actually buy this stock as well? And clearly it is a long position in that sense. And we are going to look at my thought patterns and the processes while I was trading BNR, or keeping an eye on it to make sure that I could exit with a healthy but also a safe profit. So without any further ado, let's jump straight into today's video. So first things first, I always like to show you guys that this is a legitimate trade that I made, and you can see I made it on the 23rd of March, and my entry price was a value of 18 cents. And I don't share with you guys the amount that I purchased or the values because simply I'm not here to brag. All I'm here is to show you the actual trade itself. Alright, secondly, so there's the buy, 18 cents. You can see I then exited this stock at a value of 20 cents. So basically I made a 2-cent profit on the 24th of the 3rd. So a day later. This is a 24-hour trade, a nice quick flip, held overnight as you can see. So let's jump into the chart. Welcome into the BNR chart, guys. This time I decided I was going to leave in place my analysis that was there when I was actually performing this trade itself. I think it's a lot more beneficial and I can just go through exactly the motions of what triggered this trade, what triggered me to then sell it, and my thoughts throughout the process. So I bought on the 23rd of March, and the trigger for me to buy was basically, you see this downtrend here from the 17th of February all the way through to, well, the 23rd of March, where we saw it break out. That was a critical point of resistance for this stock. And the breakout occurred where we basically hit about 16.5 cents. Now, ideally, I would have loved to have gotten in at this price, and I actually put in a bid at 17.5, but it had already disappeared, unfortunately, when I executed the trade. So I got in at 18 cents, as you can see over here. Now, on the daily chart, it's, I suppose, a bit harder to see what my intentions were and explain my thought patterns. We're only looking at 2 candles. So what I used was the hourly chart. So if I go into the hourly chart now, what you can see is here we've had the point of entry, and it was at 18 cents, and this was the period at actually when I got in, and that was fantastic. My key point of resistance was here, and that was at 19 cents, and I put that in place because that was the previous high that had been touched by a few candles over here in the past. And as you can see, we did hit that point on multiple occasions. We even came back down on multiple occasions to test the 18 cent mark. And this occurred basically all throughout the 23rd of March. Then on the morning of the 24th, so today, we did, open up here at 18.5, but then dip down and once again test that 18 cent mark. So that was a test. We had another bounce as we've seen previously, and then my 19 cent mark actually got breached. That key point of resistance was broken. So this is when I was like, okay, ideally the target would have been up here, the top end of the channel, but I got a bit jittery. And the reason I got a bit jittery was purely because I was, I suppose, not seeing the volume that I'd hoped to have seen on this chart as quickly as I thought it would have come in. And basically that meant for me, I was going to exit. Then as soon as I exited, quite literally at 20 cents, as you can see, some volume did actually start to come into play, and we shot up to a high over here of the day of 23.5. So I certainly did leave some money on the table, but I still made a healthy profit from 18 cents all the way up to 20 cents. That is basically about a 10 to 15% profit. So all in all, relatively a good trade. Certainly left some on the table. My initial target was actually up here where this went, 22.5. I just didn't think the volume was coming in to actually support that fact as well. Let's have a quick look at the MACD. This was a real influencing factor for basically when I sold out of this as well. So you can see when it did hit that 20 cent mark, it was starting to dip. We had that EMA coming down, our shorter term one, starting to head towards that longer term one. I was thinking if this crosses, well, we're going to be going back down lower. So I'm going to exit now, play it safe. That is really, I suppose, another one of the key factors that drove me to sell when I actually eventually did. And, you know, managed to get out obviously with the decent profit, but still, as you can see, left a lot on the table. So my presumptions now is that this stock, I've exited it. I'm probably not going to watch it, but what I'd expect to happen now is, of course, we've hit the top end of this channel. And in fact, we've closed above it by the looks. I'll go back to the daily chart to have a look. Actually, no, we have not. We've not closed above it. It's closed at a value of 21 cents. As you can see, hit that top end there and came flying back down. So all in all, realistically, if I'd sold at the end of the day, I've only left a cent on the table. So could have made a third more, but I like to play these things safe. And that's what I think. Risk management is huge in this game. If you start, you know, to see a bit of momentum building, then ideally, you know, you want to take advantage of it and get out prior to it, I suppose, peaking and then dipping back down. But then at the same time, you've got to weigh up those risks of leaving too much on the table. Now, for this stock in general, do I think it's going to continue to rise? Yes, as I mentioned before, it does look like it is going to continue to rise. Not insane amounts of volume. I mean, the volume that we saw over here on the 17th of February was much bigger. So I do think we could see this continue on its current uptrend. It's obviously in this channel anyway. So overall, yes, I could have held on to this longer than another flip, but I still got out with what I'd consider to be a relatively healthy profit of 10%. That wraps up the analysis of my trade on BNR, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you think that I took the right approach to this trade, or do you think that I could have done better? I mean, I certainly did leave some on the table, but in these sort of situations where you're trying to basically just flip a stock and make a very quick trade, you want to make sure you exit with a healthy but also a safe profit as well. Risk reduction, in my opinion, is the biggest key to long-term success when you're trading whatever it is, stocks or crypto. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. If you did enjoy today's analysis as well, guys, make sure you do leave a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of this sort of content, hit subscribe and turn on those bell notifications. I'll leave it there for today, guys. I hope you have an awesome day. I'll see you next time. Cheers.